reach for expectation-wise, and definitely a tall task. But when I heard Martian, I thought No Man's Sky-esque.
Like you said, a lot of survival games, but I think it's popular right now. And I'm hopeful that a lot of them do it right. But this is like going underneath Mars and has aliens. It looks interesting. I like it.
I'm intrigued about the variety of ecosystems and aliens and plants that they bring up.
Well, like you said, it's popular right now because people like them. And so they share a lot of things mechanically, but for me, it's usually the vibe. And this one has a vibe.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
That's why I wonder how that gameplay loop goes. Like, how far down can you go? What kind of biomes are you experiencing as you continue to go down? And like you said, with survivals, we see like a lot of the same loops. So how can they?
Are there trees you can cut?
Yeah, like again, we're gonna talk about it a lot, but if you can cut a tree down, I'm good for survival games. I'm like
At that point.
I'm the target audience.
Then we have Deep Dish Dungeon, co-op dungeon crawling, a survival game, a handcrafted dungeon. You gather resources, cook to strengthen your party. You can party up with friends. I'm excited for it.
Speaking of vibes, this thing is a vibe. Like, I don't know what you'd call that art style, but whatever it is, like injected into my veins.
Retro, right?
It's like pixel art, but then they also have like some voxel type tech for digging and breaking things. I don't know, whatever it is, I like
What's
it.
voxel type tech?
Okay, so when Luke said voxel, that's big word count number 1 of the day. When I see that, I'm very basic. I'm like, that's got to be some form of pixel art, which is definitely coming back. I feel like we're seeing more games kind of pull back that old view, that old like Minecraft pixel art, whatever you want to call it, voxel view.
I will be honest with you guys. While you guys are talking about pixels, I'm thinking I hope I can kill my teammates in funny ways. So sure, we'll go with the pixels.
Yeah, we were watching the trailer together, and the first thing she was saying was like, hey, how do I kill those I'm with?
I mean, I have to imagine it's a dungeon crawling game about cooking in the dungeon. Surely you're gonna be able to accidentally poison yourself.
Do you think you can get like bad ingredients on purpose to murder your?
I bet you're.
my God.
I bet you're gonna have to find out.
Why are you going there?
So I wonder though, with it being like in dungeons, like if they're gonna have an in-game proximity chat kind of thing.
I hope
It's
so.
one of my favorite things in games like this when you're like walking through and you can hear your friend off in the distance. I wonder if they'll do something like that.
The Lethal Company
Yeah.
effects where they're like,
It looks
Especially
like
you
a
can
game
hear them
that's meant to
screaming.
be
Like
enjoyed
screaming
with
right
friends, for sure.
Yeah, like at
Me
least
and Jake gonna be in their edition in that dungeon.
like at least a co-op. He's across the world. I'm like, Rob, you there?
I'm dishing, baby. I'm dishing.
I'm dishing.
Making
Can you bring a carrot?
What are you making?
Lasagna.
Yeah, no, but it looks very promising though.
Next up, we have Dawn Walker. Lua had a crazy conversation with her creative director. Single player, vampire, RPG. It looks incredible. I think the 30-day system is awesome and, like you said, gives weight to things. And then the whole, like, there's so many decisions you can make.
What I find really interesting about the game is that Cohen, the protagonist, is half vampire, half man. And even though like all of that sounds great by itself, there's even another layer where at night, of course, he can use vampiric abilities that he doesn't get to use during the daytime. His combat's different. He's not using a sword, he's using claws. And then in the daytime, of course, there's NPCs walking around and there's, you know, maybe patrols going around that aren't there at night, but then there's different ones at night. So
And you can use magic as human. You can use magic as a vampire.
Yes, and basically what they're trying to do is to not just have the time be an element of certain actions to take it forward, but also whether you're playing in day or night, quest lines play out completely differently because people are in different spots, their behaviors are different. This person may be asleep, so you can't talk to them.
Have
but
different
somebody else is
abilities.
there. Exactly.
Well, The Witcher 3 is my personal favorite game of all time. So, and this is former Witcher 3 developers working on this, and so much of that charm was prevalent there.
The music.
The music, just that soundtrack in the short little snippet we saw there, I felt it.
I love that simple separation between day and night and different things coming with your character.
That's got to be like the coolest part of it.
Yeah, because it's got to probably tailor to your gameplay of like, I got to wait to make this choice during the nighttime versus during the daytime where I can use certain abilities or different combat styles. I love that part of it.
And so I could foresee a run through, like a play style where you're playing only at night for missions. You're just doing stealthy vampire stuff, and you're eating people, or you're drinking blood rather, not eating people. I don't know, maybe it's not away. But
Whatever
you know,
you want.
the dark run through versus like the light run through in the daytime, the vegan run through. The vegan run through. Which has one of those vegan.
Vegan sped run, Don Walker.
Yeah, vegan achievement.
Okay.
Sponsored by Beyond Meat. The fact that they revealed a little bit about more Brensis, the Overlord, is also a system.
Yes.
He really talked a lot about systems that they have not spoke on yet at all, and didn't with us either.
Like the edicts. As you go around the world trying to find your information, you can side with different people, and depending on what you do, you can make the Brensis quite upset. So he can start making laws and rules to stop you from progressing in a certain way.
I also like that Brensis as an antagonist is not just like pure evil, doing all sorts of horrible stuff. Like he is helping the people in some ways in order to, get control of them, but he's like curing them of the plague. Like he offers them something they aren't getting elsewhere. So he's doing bad stuff, but there's nuance.
And that typically makes for really, really good stories.
Harder choices to be made,
perspective, and never a clear-cut good or bad.
Yeah, because I bet you there's gonna be a moment where it's
It's
like
one
you
of
could
the
stop
charms.
it, like his influence in an area. That means they're gonna die of the plague. So it's like, do you let the bad guy do the thing that you're trying to stop him to do, or?
And it's also about perspective. These people were ruled by a very tyrannical leader before. So even though Brent is a vampire, to them, he may as
it's
well
worth it.
be a savior, right?
For the next section, we have 3, again, I'm gonna have to not say incredible games every single time, but we have Prologue, Go Way Back from Player Unknown, Beautiful Light from Deep Worlds, and Project Shadowglass from Starhelm Studios.
It's just an infinite map generator with some game loops on top of it. So you have a survival loop, which is pretty hard. Get to the weather tower, we give you a map and a compass and not much else. Some basic survival mechanics, and it's a game against yourself more than anything else and kind of the decisions you make. Then we also have just objective survive, which is just see how long you can last in the world, and free roam for those that just like a hike. The differentiator, or the thing that makes a difference, is that we can generate essentially infinite maps of 8x8 scale. Like we have a map editor in the game and stuff like that, but we want to be able to give you the ability to give a deep link to someone. So I can just send you like a HTTP link that starts up the game, loads a map and a seed, and I can share stuff I've built with you with just a link, right? So it's kind of, Go Way Back is just, it's a technological experiment that, or proving some technology we've developed. It's no longer an experiment, it's in production, so it works. But it's also going back to my love of survival games and those kind of emergent, just, I'm not giving anyone missions to do, it's just get there, and how you get there is fully up to you. Basically, if you play the same seed, you get the same weather, I'm pretty sure you get the same cabin layout, and you maybe get the same loot. So you and 4 friends could technically race to the weather tower and see who gets there first, because you have the same conditions. And while we don't have multiplayer yet, you have this kind of asynchronous multiplayer that, as long as you can share the seed with people. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool thing for events where you have 16 streamers and see how long they can survive in objective survive mode, right? Or see who can race to the weather tower quickest, or we can set up the weather just to get progressively colder and see who lasts the longest. There's a weather tower on top of one of the higher points on the map. It's generally the other side of the map. We do have prompts now that tell you what to do in the world. But yeah, there's some simple survival mechanics. Keep yourself warm, keep yourself dry, light fires, board up windows, keep your body in a good temperature, get across the map. And we don't tell you where you are on the map, except when you find a new map in the world and it updates your position, you're left for basic navigation. It's kind of set in the 80s, so you don't have digital GPS, stuff like that. I want to make sure that the worlds we're generating have enough depth that when we add story and mission and quest-based content, that the worlds feel like coherent and real enough that it makes sense. Like, I want to have pathing, I want to have like infrastructure, like telephone lines, this kind of stuff, so the cabins aren't just random cabins in the forest, that there seems to be some like, logical placement of stuff in the world. And once we have those in, then we can more easily go, well, okay, you need to connect all the substations to bring power to the weather tower so you can get a message or go and do various things. Right now, there's a bunch of cabins and there's survival mechanics, but we want to add a lot more depth to the environment. Preface is a tech demo. That I always said I wanted to release a free tech demo of the engine we're building, and that's what Preface is. And the kind of poetic thing is that my last game will be Preface, because it'll just be a visualization of what's possible with our engine at that time. And it's more like Minecraft survival, that it's an example of what you can do with the engine, and it'll be open source and free for everyone, so you can do whatever you want. So having this kind of digital space, like an internet in 3D, I don't see anyone working towards that. I see small bubbles, but I don't see anyone really trying to do Earth-scale terrain with millions of people. And that's kind of the bigger goal, and that's why we've broken it down into 3 games. The aim is that you should be able to do anything from 10 by 10 to 100 by 100 with 5v5 or 100v100 relatively easily and not have any problems. We will build maybe an Earth-scale terrain, maybe smaller, with hopefully a network layer that supports millions of people. That will be kind of a survival civilization MMO type game. But again, that's just one layer of the world. Like, I want you to be able to just jump around the world and see what's happening, because you should be able to, like, I think if you want to interact with the world, there should be a layer of survival you have to do, or a layer of gameplay in order to kind of leave your impression on the world.
Quebec Charlie to Quebec Romeo Foxtrot. We got your location report. We are monitoring you in the operation zone. Good luck. Over.
In a world where pixels were once only 2D, now they're 3D. Oh, I'm just with you. I'm Dominic John, the dev behind Project Shadowglass, a 3D pixelated RPG that's a love letter to classic immersive sims like Thief and System Shock. This video is a series of prototype rooms that I've been working on some of the core systems in. No art, no assets will be generated by AI. This is all human-made, hand-placed, made by me and artists like me because we love what we do. Headphones, I would highly suggest wearing them. All the audio in Project Shadowglass is going to be 3D, and not just 3D, but simulated. The music emanating from this orb is going into the left ear and the right ear, but as I change the size of the space, you can hear the character of the sounds change. If we go around the wall, we can still hear it coming from the opening in each ear. actually launched the Shadowglass Discord today, so if you have any ideas or suggestions or just want to follow along, feel free to wishlist Project Shadowglass on Steam. I hope you enjoyed this sneak peek on how things are coming along. Thank you so much, all the crew at New Game Plus, for having me. Be well, my friends.
To start with, Prologue, Go Way Back, another survival game that we're seeing, and we were talking, it's a bare bones survival game where there is no common enemy. Your enemy is the elements, where you just have to try and survive and make it to that point. So if you guys don't know Brennan Green, he not only was behind the Battle Royale mode of H1Z1, which we talked a long time about, he was also the creator of PUBG. So people have a lot of faith in him and what he calls his 10-year plan, and he talks about his ultimate goal being he wants 1 million players on a server. He wants the internet to be made 3D and for all of us to actually truly be able to play together, which I know is a crazy transition from us talking about a survival game.
Single-player survival game?
Like we want to cover their survival game because I love survival games, and they're going to be branching out in this game for the next few years until they have multiplayer, until they have weapons, and they have PvE and animals to fight against. But it's also part of a much
Also
bigger
a story.
picture.
He mentioned they will be adding also a story to the
Things to
world.
do, yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be like the most ambitious, one of the most ambitious projects out there right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy to
What's so
think
funny
about.
about him is that he's like, yeah, I want like millions of players to be playing together on like a gigantic map, but you know, not to undersell it.
Shoot for the stars, brother. Shoot for the stars.
No one's done that yet. Next game we talked about was Beautiful Light by Deep Worlds SA. That's a PvPvE tactical extraction shooter. There are 6 3-person squads, and there's also a lot of anomalies and monsters and stuff that we saw in it. Looks like I'm gonna be scared.
It looks very scary.
I mean, I appreciated that it was very immersive. Like he had
Yes.
the sort of Pip-Boy looking thing over there.
Yeah.
And speaking of big words, I actually looked up what that's called. It's called diegetic UI.
Oh, did you say diegetic?
Diegetic.
Thinking the same.
Diegetic. Write that one
We're
down.
all thinking of that word.
But it's really, really cool in games like this, especially because it's like hyper immersive. There's no UI popping up being like, oh, attack incoming. It's just, no, you are in the moment, you're in the game, listen around you, look at the thing on the character itself. I love that.
So you can play as a monster,
Yeah, yeah.
or as
really?
You can play both.
or as the soldier. Is there controller support?
I don't know. Great question.
Duality she just threw up in her mouth.
I have nothing against controllers, but I believe there's a right time for mouse and keyboard and a right time for keyboards. And he believes that the right time for a controller is when you're playing shooter games. It's obviously better. The mouse and keyboard is better for that, but not for him.
I would edit my own YouTube videos with a controller. if
Yeah,
I
he
could.
said that
That's
earlier on.
That's how passionate.
Which is a patently insane thing to say.
Yeah, then we have Project Shadowglass.
Voxel art. I really enjoyed the
This is Starhelm Studios. It's an immersive sim. We've all seen it. I think it went viral from that AI post. There was like an AI post that looked just like it, and then he was like, I'm making a game like this that's not AI.
I looked up the video because he has a YouTube channel where you can actually see kind of behind the scenes. And when that clip of the AI generated art went viral, he saw it and thought like, I didn't think anybody wanted this. I was just like, it was a fun side project. And then he saw people wanted it and thought it looked awesome, and he put it out, but it's real.
Well, we talked about it earlier. There's a desire for stuff like that. The more simplicity, kind of retro feel.
It feels like the game is still like learning what it wants to be. Like he's working on the graphics, the basics, the music, and as like they have a bow and an arrow, and hopefully as they work on the project, they start feeling what it will grow to be, what kind of game it will develop itself into.
Yeah, my understanding is right now it is just Project Shadowglass, and it's going to eventually become like a video game, but right now it's just kind of proof of concept that the art works, the crazy math behind it works, and like it can grow to a game, but it's certainly very, very
Well, I wish him nothing but success.
Yeah, he seems like
because it seems like I
awesome
just
dude.
love a good passion project. You can tell there's a lot of heart in that.
And I feel like I initially, like everyone else, why I went so viral, I got attached to that same artwork, but then when he further explains and shows you some concepts that you weren't expecting out of a game with that artwork or that design, when he's showing that you said the R6 lean in there. And you,
Oh yeah, that threw me off. The little bow
it's like,
behind.
whoa.
I was like, is that a Rainbow Six
You threw that,
Siege?
you threw that in there, and then of course they got the wall grapple, and then with the whole audio design as well. I mean, I'm definitely.
I remember
left
seeing
ear.
that clip that went viral. I remember seeing it. I was like, wow, that looks incredible. Like walking up to the castle.
This section, we have three, what I would consider kind of sci-fi games a little bit, but we have Aphelion from Don't Nod, which we have an incredible look behind the scenes of the music with the composer themselves, as well as The Expanse Osiris Reborn from Owlcat. If you're familiar with The Expanse, super exciting, and also Distant Shores, Brittany.
My name is Amin Bouafa. I'm a film music composer, and I am the composer for Aphelion, the video game. I remember having a message from Talal saying that he loved the score of Summit of the Gods, and they are working in a new video game, and inviting me to come to the studio and to meet the team. It was very important for me to understand how the music would be interactive. So how to compose, how to write music that would be interactive, with models, with stems, with separating the different elements, and at the same time, how could the music, how the structure of the music would be an evolving structure. It was very important for me first to have the story of Ariane and Thomas, like that the log line is the story, both of them, so there is a theme that conveys this emotional relationship between them. And then the frozen aspect of the music. I mean, for me, it was very important first to feel the cold in the music, to feel the wind, to feel the ice. It's an instrument that had been invented by the Bachet brothers in the mid-20th century. For me, it looks like an alien instrument. When you see it, cannot even predict that it's a musical instrument. To play the instrument, you need to get your hands in water and then rub crystal buttons that are in this metal structure. Could convey this frozen identity of the score, and at the same time having this magical sense of in the score. There is a sacred feeling also to this planet. It's a huge planet, but I wanted to get this huge instrument and that it could also play very soft. The organ has a lot of sounds. It could be very soft, it could be very aggressive, it could be large, it could be intimate. For me, it's the planet. The planet could be very welcoming and suddenly very, how to say, very dangerous and very sacred at the same time. So I thought that the organ could be this, could give this majestuous feeling to the score. I'm so happy to write the music for Aphelion. It's the first time for me to write a video game score, and it's a lot of fun and a lot of passion.
We had some discussions at the early stages of the production, to be honest, whether to go fully class system or something else. And again, we started with sitting down and lining up what possible ways that the player might perceive the game. The power fantasy, how he can express himself in combat. So he might want to be a sniper, he might want to be a hacker, maybe an engineer, something else. As we designed those playstyles, we thought how to mix it up a bit, how to let player to experiment with what he encounters during the game. So, for example, when he finds a neat shoulder cannon, as we've shown in the announcement trailer, even if he's a sniper, he might want to experiment with that. Why not? It fits the universe, it fits the playstyle. He might want to see how it works. And so we decided why not to give him the possibility to do that. That was the idea behind the playstyle. So playstyle is basically the starting preset that kind of gently guides you towards the certain direction of your power fantasy of how you play the game. At some point, the player will need to commit to his choices. So again, it's an important part of the choices system. You know, if you just can switch everything on the fly, that kind of makes your choices less important. So at some point, you need to stick to particular guns, particular gadgets, and you just build around them. We give you some time to experiment, but you will need to commit. During the character creation, you will have to choose between three major factions, your origin, so you will be either Belter or Earther or Martian. Facial customization, appearance, you can choose your body type.
So you will be playing as a Pinkwater mercenary with different type of origin that you would create. You will have your sibling with the same, like, identical one. They will look a little bit different because they're their own person. They have their own personality. These events are set during the first 3 books, I think. You will start on Eris and witness basically the events from a different angle, and this part will be to some degree shown in your character creation.
Every companion should belong somewhere in the universe, and they have their own background consisting of their faction and their acquaintance. They have some background story, their own struggles. All this stuff will influence how they perceive the situations player encounters. So in every major plot event, they will have their opinions. They might hint you towards some decisions. They might provide you some assistance, or maybe even some crucial contacts to go for help, for advice, for military support, maybe. Of course, they will have their own stories, their own struggles, and you can choose to help them, or maybe to ignore their own stories, totally depending on how you want to be invested in this particular companion. The choices you make for those companions also will matter in long term.
Yep, some of them will have romances, and you can see on our background companions.
Perfect,
We cannot
thank
say
you.
who is going to have romance, but there will definitely be romance in our game.
It's a small crew on the small ship. You know, the Expanse, it's a universe where everyone flies in very tight spaces for a very long time. So there is a dynamics in the crew as well. We have a few layers of the combat system. First of all, it's obviously the gunplay, a few classes of weapons that you can use, and mostly you do it from the covers, so it's a cover-based gunplay game. And the second layer of the combat system is that's your abilities. That they might be more like offensive ones, maybe something like a grenade or a shoulder cannon, or maybe something more defensive like a shield, or maybe a protective drone. A lot of gadgets that you can choose from depending on your play style. And as Julia mentioned, there are some play styles that are mostly focused on using your gadgets rather than using your weapons. Third layer, but still very important, that's obviously your companions. They have their impact on the combat. They have what we call combat opportunities. That's particular situations when you can order your companion to use an exploit in the arena, in the environment to gain a certain advantage in combat. We decided against the management, the gameplay part of the survival stuff. So you won't be counting your gallons of reaction mass or how much water you need to recycle before it dries out. Nothing like that. But still, the expanse universe is very dangerous. So in terms of narrative, the survival will be a part of the game. You will have a tremendous enemy. You will have a lot of very dangerous situations that you will have to get out somehow. There will be a lot of survival in terms of your player experience, just not as a particular mechanic. You will be able to fly around the solar system.
Nice.
You will be able to visit various planets. We mentioned it before that we have Luna, Mars, Ceres, Io, and some other cool places to visit. And some of those places will be like major social hubs where you can just walk around, meet other people, drink at the bar, shop for better equipment and stuff like that. So you will have plenty of places to go and to visit and to look at. The Expanse universe is cruel, and some characters might die because of your choices. Stay tuned for more. We will show more very soon. Have something cooking. I hope you will like it.
Welcome back, Aaron. We trust your flight was smooth. We have landed you on the outskirts of Genyak Island. Stay alert.
Hey, Aaron, it's Thomas. You know, your brother. You said you would visit me here, but you never did. Look, bygones be bygones. Just find me in the West Zone. I'll be waiting. Sometimes I dream about what's under the ocean. A distant shore, waiting to be explored. slipping boats on the far sea. Such a peaceful place to be seen. It's a wonderful way to be free.
Let's start with Aphelion.
My understanding is it's a dual protagonist game, so you'll actually be swapping back and forth as they sort of work together. And I'm sure there's parts where you're separated, parts where maybe you're together, working together.
Very emotional story.
There's so much
world.
potential for stories like that. The dual protagonists, seeing
feel
it
like-
converge in the end.
You know it's going to be an emotional game, especially when they put so much emphasis in the music. I
Yeah.
feel like music is a tool to catalyst emotions, so it's definitely something that
We were actually talking about that earlier today, music and video, and not just video games, and art in general, and
Good
media.
music changes a
changes
game
everything.
from a game being a good game to a memorable game, a game that will stick with you in a long time. So.
Well, and Donut has a pretty storied background when it comes to narrative games, whether it's like Life is Strange or like one of my old school favorites, Vampire. Like they try different stuff, weird stuff even sometimes, and so this is exciting to see them doing something
They were
different.
using the super alien music instrument, so.
Yeah. What was it called? Is that
A Crystal Bachette.
Crystal? But
Oh, you're talking about the hand waving one?
yeah.
You're really into this hand. Right? That's like the only
I
thing
kind
you
of want
took
to
away.
try it, honestly.
I mean,
How do you discover that technique of like, oh, that makes that, yes.
that this is an award-winning composer of the Summit of the Gods as well. So what I find super impressive is just, I feel like people sleep on music so much in games, and then you see behind the scenes of this entire, like, they're in a famous church in Paris playing the organ.
Actually has been a blast to see video game music evolve during the years. Like, video games has some great music, like,
It's one of those things, when it's working, you like a lot of time you don't think about it. When music is really good
All
in a
you're
game,
thinking
you
about?
don't really think about it. But then when it's exceptional, like an Expedition or like the Witcher vibes, you know, then you really remember it. But a lot of the games you play, you probably don't look up the soundtrack, even though the game is pretty good, you know?
Ironically, my Spotify rap this year was like mostly video game scores. I think there's often correlation though, whenever a developer does take the music very seriously in a game, it often reflects
I'm sure
in
they're taking other parts
It
also.
reflects in every other. I mean, think about it. All the games that have, like, you think about the games with the best scores ever, like you just said, The Witcher 3 or whatever. I mean, it correlates to everything else. Every other aspect of the game, they take it seriously. So.
Another sci-fi game that is probably one of the most anticipated sci-fi games for a very long time is The Expanse: Osiris Reborn, which is from Owlcat as well. It is a third-person action RPG, obviously set in the Expanse universe.
The Expanse is a book and a show, so they're taking inspiration from both, but at the same time, it doesn't require previous knowledge of either for you to be able to enjoy this. In this game, you're going to be living more or less through what happens in the show. However, from a different perspective, from a different side, with your own group of people, with your own environment, that you got to make your own choices.
I think an important thing to frame all of the Expanse game with is that coming from Owlcat, they are a studio that did like Rogue Trader, for example. Their bread and butter is intense, gritty narratives with unbelievable levels of roleplay depth and choice and consequence, complex systems that interweave. And so seeing them go into this, which is of course a third-person cover-based shooter with many, many RPG mechanics. It's a different road. And I asked them about that in our interview and was like, how did this happen? Because typically they do sort of an isometric thing. And they just said when we decided we wanted to tackle the Expanse, it required that cinematic flair, and that's what they tackled. And they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, the game looks beautiful.
It looks very interesting to me. It looks kind of like Dead Space meets Gears of War.
It's
kind
more
of
like
gameplay-wise,
Mass
it did. Or, yeah, Mass Effect as well.
The choice and the reputation you have with your companions will change, because your companions, they told us, will disagree with some of the stuff you do. They'll get upset or
They will have their own
about it.
opinions.
They'll have their own opinions. And they also, one interesting tidbit they mentioned was that when you are making choices in the game, they're not necessarily going to tell you if that was a big moment, if that, what you just said to them is going to seriously affect this thing over here. It will, but that's all behind the scenes.
Third game was Distant Shore, Brittany. This is what went viral as almost a portal with magnets. And I think it looks like a lot of fun.
It's such a unique concept. I could see it being big time.
You know,
Like,
it's one of
really
those
is.
games like you didn't know you want it, but then you see it, you're like, oh, that looks like it tickles
doesn't
a part
like
of my brain.
magnets?
Yeah.
Like we've seen
very
versions of it before, but with everything it combines, because it makes everyone think of a different game when you see it. Because we've heard Half-Life, we've heard Portal. I thought of Only Up during some parts of it.
Yeah, it had Only Up.
And other
It
puzzle
Mirror's Edge a little bit with like the parkouring, wall moving stuff.
See, it makes us think of so many different things at once. So I think it's gonna do.
Just
really well.
watching some of that gameplay, I could see the rage already.
Oh yeah, the boss.
Oh yeah,
not
that-
happening.
Well, and I think it's also really cool that they have boss mechanics because, like, you can tell it started with the idea of using magnets to like manipulate the environment, but then they're like, okay, well, we could raise the stakes, take it up a notch with these boss fights that are organic in the space. And
It also mixes up because it's not just a puzzle game, so there is more to it and more that you.
Yeah, there's a world that he even showed as well.
It's more than just a puzzle game. Like there's a narrative behind it.
Exactly. Like they could have just stopped with puzzle game. I think a lot of people would have been perfectly happy with that. But then they go and build on that with a story, boss fights, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, if it's not just reach a destination or do a final thing, but it's actually a narrative, like you said, that's really cool.
I think it's one to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Next up, we have two very exciting updates coming from Obsidian, that being some updates for Avowed as well as Grounded 2. We also got exclusive time with them and had some interviews, which were very exciting.
Avowed is a Obsidian first-person action RPG set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, where the player plays as an envoy sent by the Emperor of Adir to the Living Lands to investigate a mysterious plague that's kind of spreading throughout the lands, causing chaos, and you play as the envoy trying to figure out what's kind of going on down there. Do things that affect it in positive ways, negative ways, or in between type of ways, with that type of choice and consequence. In terms of, the post-launch things we've been supporting on it, like we've gotten a bunch of abilities added to the Ranger and Fighter trees to kind of more fill it out comparatively to the Wizard tree. Aspects about it that are like Arachnophobia mode, that was like a big community requested feature, as well as, changes to progression, improvements there, gear improvements, and as well as bug fixes and crash fixes.
And you can play now as the different species.
Yeah, we've added different species. The Amauin, Orlins, and Dwarves are now playable. A lot of our decisions we make are revolving around the player community, so we work really closely with our community management team. We get like a spreadsheet, kind of see what the things that are bubbling to the top. Like an example, like quarterstaff was something where we wanted to feel like more like a wizard, right? That kind of wizardy vibe, as well as playing as Orlins. Like I think players just were bummed that we didn't include that in the base game. So I mean, it really comes down to like the time and what the community wants, and that's kind of how we decide to go about it. Yeah.
We notice like players really role play their characters in the game, so we always want to give them as many options as we can to like customize their features or character, to kind of have this fantasy in this world as they journey through the story. We just wanted to give them as many possible options as they can to really make the character they want to make, and just make it just their own. Stuff like all the playable races, we discussed it early on in Avowed. It's something both previous Pillars games had. It's a lot of work and a difficult thing to really nail down, especially in Avowed with its parkour systems and its combat mechanics and all the weapon types and stuff like that in the game. Our different races are different sizes, they're different shapes, they're a very unique game experience when you play as each one of them in a first-person game specifically. So it was something like new to wrangle for Avowed. We had no time to finish it as we're making Avowed, and now we can give it to the players, so it's a more rounded experience compared to the original Pillars games. It should be a whole new way to play the game. If you pick an Orlin or an Amawa, it makes you feel completely different in the world, especially if you use third person or first person. It changes it again, how you feel and present in this game, so it's pretty awesome that we can finally bring that.
New Game Plus allows the player to bring over all their abilities, all their equipable gear. It does reset it back to level 1, so it's not like you're just outright OP basically, but you'll have the end game gear with all its like enchants to be able to just start the new game, as well as we have like modifiers on enemies that kind of, you know, either make them more resistant to some of the elemental types, or, you know, modifiers that make them more resistance to being stun locked or hit reacted. And that kind of gets sprinkled in kind of somewhat randomly throughout that new game plus experience to kind of get that added challenge, but also let the player still feel somewhat like they're accumulating their abilities over the course of multiple playthroughs. So.
We notice players like to take photos of their envoys, but it's very difficult in the game. You have to get the camera just right to get a certain distance from the character, or capture the shot in a conversation when you see your character. So this allows you to really get into it and capture some awesome shots or some scary shots, depending which way you're going.
We're super excited to announce that Avowed's finally going to come out to PS5. Pre-orders are going to be live today. Keep an eye out on our socials, and we'll announce when the store page is open.
Grounded 2 is a survival game. It is set in a gigantic city park. You play as a teenager who has been shrunken to roughly the size of an ant, and you just have to survive in this environment with, insects that are the size of a bus, and figuring out how to eat and get some water and fight those bugs and craft new materials and new weapons. As you go and gain in power and get over those initial survival challenges, you can sort of get into the story of what has really happened in this park. A number of huge updates planned for the park. This is the first big content update that we have. We've been calling it the winter update. It's really about adding in this next big chunk to the park, and that comes with a lot of things that are very, very exciting for us. With this winter update, which is the community garden, is attached right to that early picnic area. On the map, it's just to the east of it, behind the gigantic statue of Tully and Burgle. This was our opportunity to really start delving into a brand new biome with everything that entailed. You've got a vegetable garden, you've got a greenhouse, and you've got a pumpkin patch. All of these introduce a lot of new and different types of artwork and places for the player to explore. And then, of course, we need all the insects that go in these areas too. And so a ton of new insects that are in there. As I love to say, all of these insects, you can fight. Maybe they're docile and you can attack them. Many of them are aggressive and will attack you. And regardless, you fight them, learn their tactics, and then eventually turn them into fashionable attire and new weapons.
Going to a new biome, a new area in the park, allows us to fully lean into what makes the park unique from the backyard. And for us, that means that mixture of really organic structures as well as that man-made touch, that this was designed by humans at human level.
Wasps are coming back, which are a lot of fun to fight, but can be kind of annoying. Again, this is a survival game, so excited about those things coming back. Black ants are also coming back too, and like with both of those, you get sets of armor and different weapons that you can craft after you've defeated these creatures. We're more excited about the new creatures that are coming in the garden update, though. So we developed a brand new creature in the cricket. The cricket is pretty big. Again, this is the size of a large bus, probably. It has some very unique attack combinations that are a lot of fun. It can also, of course, jump very, very far. It has its own armor sets. It has its own weapon or weapons that you can craft based upon it. And then the same thing for earwig. We actually have two different types of earwig. There's sort of a ranged earwig and a melee earwig that tend to travel around together to thwart the player with their strategic opportunities. Again, you can turn those into armor. Of course, turn them into your base furnishings. You can turn them into weapons, and we think they'll offer some exciting and unique combat opportunities.
We really want Grounded 1 players to be excited to see these creatures again, but also to be surprised and delighted by the changes You know, just like we did in the picnic area, we've revamped the combat. So that means even looking at the old legacy creatures and going, okay, how do we make them a part of the system? How do we make them challenging in this new dance? How can we leverage our systems to make them more interesting? And so hopefully there's a couple of twists coming, even with the old favorites, that will keep veteran players on their toes and will surprise and delight new players.
We have a brand new buggy, the Ladybug buggy, which you'll be able to get and raise and hatch and then ride around in the yard. And we're pretty excited about all that stuff. Like, I think all of it is coming together just really well.
I think every single Grounded player from Grounded 1 at some point jumped on the Ladybug and let it transport them around. And we often joke that that was the original buggy prototype. And there's something so iconic about the Ladybug and getting on it and wanting to ride it that it felt like an inevitability for us. But what's important for us whenever we do introduce a new buggy is we don't want it to just be another one or just a horse, you know? And so it really boiled down to what can the Lady Buggy bring to the table that the other ones weren't? What can make her stand apart and bring a utility and an experience to the player that the other buggies aren't? How can we carve out her own little niche in the game? She's the tank, she's, you know, the one who can get into those really tough fights and withstand those large swarms of insects. And that's where the idea of the water cannon on her back and, you know, players being able to shoot at their enemies. And that ended up, you know, providing a ton of gameplay opportunities and a really unique experience. Being able to shoot down the aerial insects that are often a bit more challenging and a bit more frustrating for players. Well, now you have this, you know, ranged weapon that you can take them down with that feels super satisfying, almost like an anti-air gun. For us, as soon as we crack that, it felt like, okay, there she is. That's her niche. And now it's just about bringing that experience to life and finding moments in the garden experience to really highlight that and let that shine for the player.
So we saw Avowed, great interview that you did over there. We see now that we have New Game Plus coming, there's a photo mode, new weapon type, changing appearance. There's new character presets, you got new races, which
Species,
I'm sure, Lua will have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. And I mean, the game, of course, launched earlier this year. Obsidian's been very busy. Yeah, and they're doing these free updates now. And so they also are adding New Game Plus, which adds a whole new reason for you to go back through the game. So the game is coming to PS5.
Yay! We got another one.
We got it.
The Avowed Platinum Trophy was insane.
Here we go.
Yeah, but it's coming and it's available for pre-order as of this show going live. So right now, so check it out. And when I talked to them, they were saying how important the community is to them, how they've listened to a lot of their feedback, like adding arachnophobia mode on Grounded.
I was gonna say, Luke, if I'm scared of spiders, what do I do?
Yeah, there's arachnophobia mode. But they that's kind of their driving force, is looking at the community, what the community is saying, communicating. They're like, hey, we'd like more species and more customization options in Character Builder. Okay, we'll do that. And it's just really nice to see them do that. They could put it in a paid package, but they're not. They're just, you know, it's a labor of love, and that's...
I really like how, as you're going to New Game Plus, you can also change your character's appearance. So you keep some of your skills and stuff, but if you are tired of how your character looks or you want to do something new, try a different race, you can do that by just going to New Game Plus. You don't need to go back to the beginning.
Besides that, we also had Grounded 2, which is bringing the Garden of Brook Hollow Park that is now going to be open. So it's a new biome, they have new creatures, new tools, a new mushroom brick material that you can build more stuff with, and also a new ladybug buggy. A lady buggy.
So sweet.
For those of you watching, it's a play on word.
Allow me to explain.
Ladybug-y, because you can mount it and ride it like a buggy.
Yeah, and speaking to listening community, they also take a lot of feedback. This is a game that launched back into early access back in July, and so this is a major winter update is what they're calling it, and it was heavily requested to have more types of transport, which they're still planning more for the future that people can be excited about, but they always listen to feedback about, you know, should an insect be an enemy? Should an insect be what they call, you know, is it docile or docile? I'm from Iowa.
Whatever you
Tomato,
prefer.
tomato.
Yeah. Different insects can be friendly, some can be enemies, and then of course they can also treat them now as transport as well.
You looked at Luke when you asked.
Well, I'm not looking at you. And so with this update, they're doing this throughout a lot of the timeline. Like they're gonna give you a lot of these big updates, and you're gonna be kind of surprised of like when it first released early access, there was still plenty to do. It was a survival game, but if you were a fan of Grounded, the original, you knew they were still gonna have a great winter update for you like this. And so they have a lot on their roadmap, but because of the way the game is oddly like scaled down, you know, it's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like the way it's shrunk down, they have so much they still want to do and will be doing for a long, long time.
Well, and that cricket.
Yeah, the cricket thing looks
that thing's
terrifying.
horrifying. It turns around and like.
You're like, wait, what's he doing? What's he doing?
I gotta give them credit. Like Obsidian's been so crazy busy. Like the fact that you can put out 2 pretty sizable games in 1 year and a bunch of updates for it.
And it seemed like they were cooking something huge, right? Because
Yeah, they just had Tim Kaine come back out of retirement. He's one of the creators of Fallout back in the day, and he
didn't he also was some of the original creators of Vampire Bloodlines?
I think he did work
I think
on
so,
it,
yeah.
Yes.
He's kind of a legend of the industry. He, in 2020, went and started doing consulting work with Obsidian, but he was, in his words, semi-retired. But he's actually gone back to Obsidian to work full-time in office, moved to the studio on some project that's unannounced, and he said, don't bother guessing, you will not guess it. So, new IP.
New IP.
Something crazy, who knows? But they are
Or
busy.
he's trying to throw us off.
It's hard to not see like hope, at least for Fallout stuff,
Yeah.
because
TV
you
show.
know the TV show being excellent
Yeah.
and everyone itching for more Fallout. So
Next up, we have 3 fantasy RPG games that are looking very cool, as I would say. This is going to be Outward 2 from Nine Dots Studio, a follow-up to their other survival game, Outward, obviously. We have Varen's Call by Titan Rock, and then we also have Dragon Twin by Draconic Interact.
In a fantasy world, it's when you are aloof, when you're just like, that's not so dangerous, I've done it before, and that's when life just snaps back at you, right? In real life, that's like that. It should be like that in the design as well. So one gigantic thing is the character creation. In Outward 1, like, we had very ugly protagonists and we didn't have a lot of options. You know, you had like 3 skin colors, a handful of faces, a handful of haircuts, and that was it. It feels like really drawing yourself into an RPG. You choose a background, you choose traits, you have a very granular system to modify and customize your character to your liking. One of the big thing is you choose one of 3 starting locations. So as a regular person, what justifies throwing yourself into danger? How do you become an adventurer? Well, we have 3 different quests depending on which city you choose. So if you are in Simeon's Bastion, you are a homeless person, you're desperate. In Tramontane, you are a miner and you're trying to like improve your status and your quality of life. In Haboob, you are just a clerk who just bought a house. What could possibly go wrong? You know, and very mundane situations, like you're not special or anything, but something special happens to you, and then you have to live up to the situation. We want a weather system that is very dynamic. So now we have a year-long calendar with seasons, and you just go through all that. So it's going to be winter, and then it's spring, and then summer, and does change like what kind of stuff can be found, what kind of armor you need to wear. Dual wielding is gigantic. So now you can combine anything that goes in one hand, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. In Outward 1, like, you had your offhand, you could only have a set amount of things, and you had your main hand. Now you can just interchange. You can have 2 shields if you want. It sucks. I don't recommend, but you can. Of course, like, just visually, and the fact that it's much more lush, it's more filled, it's more visually vibrant, that's going to be something that people will notice very quickly. Just like in Out of One, we have 8 skill trees, and all those skill trees have some exclusive.
Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into our upcoming action RPG, Varen's Call. The world of Leda is entirely shrouded by darkness on one side, while scorched by endless sun on the other. These incredibly hostile areas are known as the Forsaken Realms, which, as you may have noticed, is the name of the universe we are meticulously crafting. Your first steps within the Forsaken Realms will take you to the Vale of Varen, a city on the brink of collapse, and the first of our narrative-focused adventures. You'll step into the boots of a lone mercenary, seeking to answer Varen's call for aid, and maybe earn some gold and glory along the way. It's clear that Varen needs a hero, and every hero needs a way to slay the countless fantastical beasts they'll encounter. Varen's Call aims to cater to a wide range of playstyles, offering you the freedom to combat the unknown in a variety of ways. Whether you prefer to be a nimble-footed archer, flinging fireballs between arrows, or face your foes toe-to-toe as an axe-wielding whirlwind of death, the choice is yours. The game's classless system means you're never locked into playing a specific way. You have the ability to adapt, alter, or completely switch playstyles midway through your adventure. Unlock and spend perk points to obtain new skills and abilities, and level up your mercenary's core stats by gaining character experience. Hidden chests throughout the world will reward you with a range of weapons, armor, and unique trinkets, some providing unique effects to help you gain an edge in your next combat encounter. The local hamlet of South Vale acts as a hub, a safe space that provides various amenities for you to further develop your character. Use the forge to upgrade the weapons and armor you find throughout the world, and the dismantling bench to deconstruct items for materials. The spell crafting table can be used to increase the power of your magic. Everything from an area of effect freeze attack that stops the enemy in their tracks, to ripping up the ground from underneath their feet with destructive force. Use the trap making bench to upgrade and unlock new traps and gadgets. A nice complement to your arsenal, allowing you the opportunity to catch your enemies off guard. And finally, the alchemy cauldron. This can be used to custom brew a multitude of mixtures, from replenishing health and restoring stamina to curing yourself of nasty status effects. These concoctions are sure to aid you on your journey. Okay, great. So you've equipped that shiny new helmet, purchased that slightly overpriced magic spell you always had your eyes on, and upgraded that new polybuster barrel to the volatile variant that has even more boom. You're ready to get back into the fight, but maybe you want a change of pace. Yes, you're supposed to be the hero and save the city, but heroes need breaks too. Besides, there's a whole world to explore, and quirky characters from all walks of life need your help with their problems.
Then you've come about the job.
You might find yourself involved in a murder mystery, helping a local peacekeeper catch the criminal behind the death of her beloved friend. Or maybe you're on a mission to rid Varen of the Gnomi scourge that plagues the city, all because a crazy guy in an outhouse called you a hero?
the truth!
Maybe we should stick to the main task at hand after all. Varan's Call is soon to release on PC with full controller support, with the aim of releasing on consoles at a later date. Our game is inspired by classics like Fable and The Elder Scrolls, so if this sounds like your kind of adventure, consider heading over to Steam and adding it to your wishlist to stay up to date with us. Until then, we'll see you mercenaries soon.
First question I had was, how hard is this game going to be? Because the most common question about the original Outward was, okay, this is like, does it have to be so hard?
I actually got to play the game in the alpha version, and I got my ass kicked.
I'm glad.
Deserved.
But it's actually amazing. Like, I actually really enjoyed it because exploring this game felt very rewarding, and there's like a camping system, so you can camp like right outside like the enemy zone, and then you prepare like your weapons and everything to wreck the enemy, because if you don't prepare, oh, you're in trouble.
It's known to be a very, very hardcore survival, and when I was talking to Guillaume, he was like, if you die, it is likely your fault. And we all heard him say, like, it's not hard, but it is demanding, and they always at all times want to live up to those words, which is really awesome. And they will have a pack mule, which he said, of course, shocker, can die if you don't take care of it.
Of course.
But it's, one of the big struggles was with inventory and spacing along other struggles that players had to really try and, play out this game. Like you were saying earlier, you can't dilly-dally in this game. You have to really know what you're going to do, and eventually you'll get a hang of things. But another big one was dual wielding. So you can dual wield, he says, anything in the game. You can even double shield it up, which he says is not recommended.
You can attack with the shield, it's super close.
He really loves to stress all of these niche things.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like you can sprain your ankle, you can perforate a lung.
Trauma.
She has clearly sprained it. You can sprain her.
I also got brain damage.
You can have a concussion. It will all impact you, and all of these ailments like take different lengths of time to recover from.
I got a concussion in game as well. It was really tough.
As well.
What were you doing? What were you doing out of game?
It was kind. No. It was just kind of like a play on, because whenever I told people I got a concussion, brain damage in game, a lot of people in my chat was like in game.
Sounds like the most hardcore of hardcore survivals.
It was really fun, and you can also play with friends, and then things become a lot more bearable.
They've showed the split screen.
Yeah,
and
so
it
you
looks
can play
awesome.
split screen with your friends, and it's really nice. Especially because then, like, you get beaten up, and then your friends get beaten up, so and then you know.
can get digital concussions together.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Forsaken Realms, Baron's Call. We were all sitting here saying it looks
It looks sick.
Most importantly, controller support. I can play that one.
I was trying to put my finger on what like the vibe was, and at the very end of the trailer, they say inspired by games like Fable. They really struck an interesting vibe. It seems like it's got a lot of soul and heart in it.
We've talked about music a lot today. I just want to say that was something I noticed right there. That flute, there's something about a flute. When a flute starts playing,
When the
in a
flute
fantasy
started,
game,
yeah,
dude.
When the flute started playing, he was like, oh my god.
I'm ready to go to war.
No, the game looks really nice. It looks very well detailed, and I can't wait to try it.
They angled it that like, hey, you can do this thing. You can really focus on combat and the main quest line, the main story, but this is also an expansive world where there are a bunch of little side stories where you can go to these individual side characters and like help them catch their chicken.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
yeah.
murder mystery or whatever it is. And I feel like that's what builds out a world and makes it feel more full. So I think it looks great. Third, we had Dragon Twin. I don't even know if we're.
Let's ride!
Dude, you can make your own dragon. There's a character for your dragon.
Did you see the neck customizer? I mean, like Jake was like.
To be fair, is very early in production. They're working on all these systems for Dragon Flight, and as they mentioned in the trailer, it's still a work in progress. They're like finding the game and what it's gonna be based on funding, Patreon support, things like that. But I mean, just like imagining the vision of a kingdom builder where like you're in command of dragons like Khaleesi, like inject that into my veins. It's another one of those games I didn't know I needed or wanted, but
Never even came across your mind. You're like, wait a second.
well, you see and you're like, of course.
Of course I need that.
I can't wait to see how it progresses because it already looks amazing.
But they left the combat pretty open-ended. Like we saw some battle scenes, we saw some light with other dragons maybe fighting, and how that's going to come into play. I'm really curious
The
about.
movement, I mean, you're gonna get some battlefield pilots.
The
so cinematic.
The cinematic shots you're going to get with that dragon is going to be crazy.
Next up, we have some exclusive content coming from Munfish, a comparison of the twins from Atomic Heart, now in the cube, a very exciting game I think we're all looking forward to. And for Atomic Heart, some new screenshots from their DLC number 4. On top of that, there is also Immortal Gates of Pyre that we had an incredible interview with that Jake hosted, where we talk a little bit about the making of the game, the people behind it, and RTS in general.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is.
It's in the sky, a giant cube. I can still barely believe it myself. When it showed up, I was in the lab. I didn't even see it. You know, I felt that same fear, though. A terrible sense of my own powerlessness. How did the whole of humanity miss it? And did we actually miss it? What if the cube didn't appear, but revealed itself? What if it was always there, and we've only just started to see it?
Gates of Pyre is an attempt to modernize and make more accessible the RTS genre while simultaneously keeping all of the complexity and the opportunities for mastery that have made RTS so popular over the years. So it's I would refer to it as a Blizzard-style RTS, the fast action, big battles, very tactical, kind of very rapid-fire chess. We realized that RTS, in part because it was dominated by a few big players, never really went through the kind of indie transformational experimentation. Some of the companies that tried to do so did so by stripping away features or losing some of the things that really made RTS great. In the early days, we surveyed a lot of players in both MOBA and RTS communities and found that they really loved the fantasy of commanding an army. RTS, at the end of the day, if you were to strip it all away, is just you're commanding an army, another guy's commanding an army in real time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get individual unit control, it can be very overwhelming. And because you're also building those units, because you're building a base, because you're having to do so much macroing along with the microing simultaneously, that for most players, it just gets overwhelming and complicated. And so we worked through it kind of line by line, trying to figure out what are the rote tasks, what are the things that players are required to do that are not really decisions, that are more just chores, right? And how do we make more and more of the complexity in the game, but optional, opt-in. We refer to it as opt-in complexity. And then simultaneously, how do we create a world and experiences and game modes that people want to be a part of? We want to take this genre and show people this genre isn't dead. People want this fantasy, they want this experience. A lot of it has to do with things like the UI and the UX, the unit design, and a lot of that opt-in complexity. So for example, in most RTSs, you always have to be building workers. If you're not building workers, you're falling behind on your economy and you're screwed. The correct move, with very few exceptions, is to build a worker every chance you get. So we made that automated, but have a toggle. If you want to turn it off, you can. So if you're trying to do a specific timing attack, you can, but we took that complexity away. One of the other things is how in MOBAs you have a unified command card, right? All of the abilities and castable abilities on your hero are easy to reach. You can hit all of those buttons very quickly on one hand. We redesigned the UI UX to be the same way. So you can select your whole army with one button by default, and then all of the abilities, castable abilities of your army are also on that one unified command card. One of the things that people often tell us is that when they watch our game, it looks like an RTS, but when they play it, it almost plays more like a MOBA in terms of how they're commanding their army. Our early idea was if we bring the top, 10 modders within generally the strategy gaming space, if we bring them all together and we say, if we were to come together and build a game that truly is the next generation of RTS, what does it look like? And that's what we set out to do. The 1v1 or 2v2 PvP experiences, they're similar to a StarCraft or a StarCraft 2. Maps, we did redesign the maps and we redesigned the mechanics in a way that 2v2 is actually really, really fun. It's a core support gameplay mode. And players, including pro players, have actually really enjoyed doing 2v2 tournaments. But the ultimate goal is to destroy the enemy's town centers, and so it's kind of a tactical back and forth with counters and strategic snipings and using immortal abilities in clever ways. So it's great for mastery and laddering and skill gain. Ultimately, or at least the goal, is to have other PvP modes that are more casual or more playful, kind of some chaos modes, auto battler modes, things like that, where if you just have 10 minutes and you want to have a beer while doing it, and you want to do something that's a bit strategic, but you don't want to get that sweaty, we want to have those experiences too. That's a big part of the target market that we're looking at, is people that like to be challenged mentally, but don't necessarily want to try to do the crazy APM and don't want to get too invested in the competition. We want to do a full grand campaign. The inspiration for how we kind of want, or how we see the ideal campaign, if we can build it, is very similar to Dark Crusade. It's a grand campaign. You can be kind of any of these different factions and conquering territory and building new and unique stories.
One of the better trailers that I think we all saw back around SGF last
Not
year.
a new trailer that we're showing with this. Of course, the twin comparison is new, which is very cool to see the twins for the first time in this universe, if you like Atomic Heart. But the trailer itself for the Cube, nothing new.
The potential for that game is like unmatched. It is a
They're
crazy
so
concept.
good at cinematics, and also just like the concept of playing a game like that with the map constantly changing, the biomes changing. It like breaks my brain to think about, but in a fun way. I think.
Like different terrains, different weather.
Yeah. They show that sliding clip where she's sliding, and then as the cube is apparently rotating, we don't know how that mechanic even works with the
Well, I'm
map.
assuming you can fall off. Like if you fall
You would
off the
think,
map,
right?
you just like that's. I'm sure you're
Or get
dead.
crushed.
And
by,
they've
like,
taken so
rocks,
many
you know?
gameplay mechanics already we saw from that short trailer. You saw wall running, you saw just like traditional gunplay.
The other cool part to me is that it is set in a universe that people have already been a part of. somehow.
The world of Atomic Heart's very interesting.
Can you
as well.
explain it a little bit?
It's kind of like it is Soviet Russia in an alternate timeline where they've mastered robotics, but then there's like evil robots.
And in terms of vibe, it's kind of like Soviet Bioshock. And it's a vibe.
That's a good way to put it.
And what's interesting is that from the original game Atomic Heart, one of the primary things people loved about it were like the boss fights and then like the outdoor environments and the art direction. And that is just the cube. And then they're adding in this multiplayer component as well with like, it seems like PvE elements with bosses that you'll fight against together as the cube rotates. I can't wait to find out more.
I love how open-ended they are. Munfish is like, we are all curious because we don't know the exact direction they're going and where it could end up. And I was trying to pinpoint like what game I was looking at because we are gonna flow into Atomic Heart and I love that tie between those worlds. But I saw a piece of like the finals and the first destructibility and cube movement we saw when the finals first released. There was something about that aesthetic that I also saw and I was like, okay, now I'm instantly locked back into this.
The DLCs people love. There's already Atomic Heart 1 and 2. This is their fourth and final DLC for Atomic Heart. And when we saw the trailer, we saw the screenshots, it adds new environments and it looks good.
Yeah.
You know? Then the third game on our list with that one was Immortal Gates of Pyre by Sunspear. Jake, you had a great conversation with Ian.
My boy Ian. It's a game that's been in development for a long time. We're gonna probably talk about how it's a group of modders, and so they've hired a lot of modders, and they have that DNA for this game and a lot of the concepts they want to plan out for the future. They've had hands on this for almost 10 years, but they've been working hard on it for about 5, is what they would tell you. And they really want to try and combat, as we all know, like the RTS genre is really hard to get into because
high barrier of entry.
I agree, because it's like you see these games, you know RTS games, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work on micro, macro, and all those movements per second and whatnot. And they want to try and combat the pillars that have already established themselves in the RTS genre. We know Age of Empires, but we also know StarCraft is the one that people kind of go to. And he was saying they've had these games in the genre that blew up so early on that it's been hard for companies like this to make a new RTS and survive and branch out and be somewhat unique to what we already have kind of attached to.
I do like that they're kind of emphasizing accessibility because I think it is pretty intimidating for new players.
All right,
That's why a lot of
guys.
people don't want to.
I think the rest of the stuff is just gonna be update for already existing game and then some like a lot of games, maybe nothing crazy. But I was hoping to see a release date for the Cube, which we did not get. That was kind of disappointing, but that game looks really fun. And probably there will be, I think, beta for it. There should be. I'm just guessing, but that's a big game. I'm pretty sure there will be beta for it. So I don't know when. Maybe anywhere 2026 will be really great. Maybe mid 2026, and then the release will be end of 2026. We'll see, but I'll definitely try to get the beta key for myself and probably bunch for you guys as well. But yeah. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. That was it. Sadly, we didn't get any release date, but that game looks very fun. It's like First Descendant, but in Atomic Heart universe, which I'm down for it. So yeah. Take care, everybody. I will be live tomorrow playing some Fallout 76 on PC or Xbox. I think on Xbox. We'll see. Maybe on PC. I think on Xbox. I don't know. But yeah, You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching. And if anybody wanna check out the rest of the show, if you go to Twitch, just search for New Game Showcase and you will see this, but there is nothing like crazy in it. I think they showed everything. The rest will be just like update for existing games and stuff like that. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.